It's 2014, and the horror game department isn't exactly thriving, with most titles coming from AAA developers like Silent Hill and Resident Evil. But it's also at this time that solo indie developers really started to get into the genre. 2 years prior, we got the legendary Slender the 8 Pages, and in 2014, we got hit with Slender Anxiety. It's also around this time I'm sure you remember that Five Nights at Freddy's dropped to wide acclaim. A first for its genre. However, this game started one of the worst trends in all of horror games, jump scares being the main form of horror. Now don't get me wrong, Five Nights at Freddy's did far more to be scary than just jump scares, but at the time, I feel like nobody was really talking about that. Everyone was focused on jump scares, and other indie devs took this trope to the moon. There was one developer that saw this new and growing trend and realized how much of a joke the jump scare had become, and made it their mission to craft a game that parodied what horror had become. Parodies have always been popular, with some well-known examples being the Starving Games, Deadpool, and One Punch Man. But I argue that the game we will be looking at today, while still being a parody, actually produced horror that was more terrifying than the games it was aiming to make fun of. I welcome you to relax and look back on the 2014 classic, Spooky's House of Jump Scares. Before we begin, in the last video, I asked you all what your favorite RPG was and why. My favorite response was this one by Fredbear is Frightening. They chose Undertale, and I 100% agree. Not only is Undertale my favorite RPG, it's also my favorite game of all time. I could go over my reasons, but that would have to be its own video. Without further ado, let's get to the video. I should start by mentioning, yes, I know the name of the game is Spooky's Jumpscare Mansion, but that name change didn't happen until 2016 when the dev received a cease and desist from Spooky's House Studios, when they claimed Spooky's House of Jumpscare infringed on their trademark. Very cringe from Spooky's House, honestly, get over yourself, but whatever, it's Spooky's Jumpscare Mansion now. Spooky's gameplay loop is as simple as it can possibly get. You thought the FNAF formula was easy? Yeah? Try walking through rooms. Riveting, isn't it? The goal of Spooky's Jumpscare Mansion is to make it through 1,000 rooms, and all you get to do so is a health bar, a stamina bar, and a little room counter. How hard could it be? For the first 300 rooms, every 50 rooms you will reach an elevator where you can save, read a motivational poster, and descend deeper into the mansion. After 300 rooms, you will only get an elevator every 100 rooms. The game does this to make sure that your asshole stays puckered for the entire experience. Let's start with the first 50 rooms. But before you begin, in Room 0 you meet the main antagonist of the game, Spooky herself. Her dialogue could very easily mislead you into thinking that the game will solely poke fun at horror game cliches, and trust me, it definitely does do that, but also trust me when I say it does a whole lot more. Rooms 1 through 50 act as a very simple get-to-know-the-game area. You'll walk through rooms that look identical, have minimal if any furniture, and occasionally find a note left by someone who had entered the mansion before you. If you thought there would be monsters in this game, you'd be correct. The game refers to them as specimens, so I will do so as well. The only specimen that can appear in the first 50 rooms is Specimen 1. Specimen 1 is just a cardboard cutout. There are actually several different Specimen 1s that can appear. They can't damage you or end your game, they're just there to serve as a jump scare. Rooms 51 through 99 is where the game really begins to change. Now you will find rooms that are mazes with giant abysses that you'll have to traverse through. Let me tell you right now, I cannot stand these rooms, and it will become very apparent why later, but just keep these rooms in mind for now. Upon reaching room 60, you'll find a large green puddle on the ground. There's also a note in this room written in blood. It reads, "Spouting, splashing, soaking, innards ingest invoking, nailing never stops the choking." Fun fact, if you take the first letter of each of the lines, it spells sin. Don't know if that was intentional, but thought I'd point it out. Once you finish reading this note, you learn how the rest of this game will play out. As you turn around, you'll be greeted by Specimen 2. This fucking thing. The wiki says it's also known as gel, but I have no idea where it got that from, since I'm unaware of any time the game refers to it as such. But regardless, Specimen 2 is the first real example of the threats that you'll be seeing in this game. Chases. you will be chased through several rooms by the remaining of the specimens covered. Specimen 2 will chase you through 10 to 19 rooms, which it chooses randomly when the chase begins. It can stop sooner than that if you reach an elevator room or a room with importance, such as a room like room 60 where you first met Specimen 2. During his chase, you'll see green puddles on the floor. Walking on these puddles will slow the player down, making it more likely for Specimen 2 to catch you. If Specimen 2 comes into contact with you, he will deal damage to your health, which slowly recovers over time, and I do mean slowly. Specimen 2 is in a group of specimens I will call floaters. Floaters fucking suck. By far my least favorite type of specimens. Since they float, if while being chased you happen to be unfortunate enough to find an abyss maze room while you have to traverse the maze, floaters can float right over the abysses. So if you accidentally take a wrong turn and have to turn around, guess who's right fucking behind you? After completing Specimen 2's scripted chase, you're more than likely safe until room 100. However, I should mention that with every specimen that chases, after their first chase, which is always scripted and can always be predicted, any of the specimens you've already seen can randomly spawn and begin to chase you in any room. So even after Specimen 2's first chase, even before you reach room 100, there is still a chance you'll be chased by him again. And then he could chase you again in room 604, 312, 506, whatever, you get it. Now that we'll be entering rooms 101 and beyond, you should have a pretty simple understanding of how this game plays. So let's just talk about the interesting shit, the specimens and their chases. Upon reaching room 120, you enter an area of GL Labs. After walking around, you'll find several glass containers with weird-looking creatures inside, before finding one container that has been broken open. You'll find a table that has a note and a key card. The note is from a GL lab assistant who explains how difficult it has been to contain Subject 5, who is also Specimen 3. Using the key card, you can enter the next room of the lab, where you'll find a large hole in the ceiling. After reading a note covered in blood, Specimen 3 will drop from a hole in the ceiling, and its chase will begin. Specimen 3 is probably the easiest to get away from. Specimen 3 isn't a floater, and it can drop from any of the holes it makes in the ceiling. However, it takes it 4 to 8 seconds for it to drop through the hole, meaning as long as you get through a room in less than 4 seconds, you'll never even see Specimen 3. Specimen 3 will chase you for 9 to 19 rooms before leaving you alone. Once you get to room 165, you'll find yourself in a school with a flashlight. Entering rooms and reading notes from students, you'll learn that there was supposedly a myth that there was a ghost that ate children who stayed in the school after hours, and that a girl named Matsuri hasn't been to school in a few days. After reading the notes, Specimen 4 appears and her chase begins. Specimen 4 is what I'm guessing to be the ghost that was talked about in the notes. She's a floater and can phase through walls. Why is phasing through walls a problem? Well, while most rooms are usually a straight line, some rooms have U-turns or are a big spiral. The problem being, since she can move through walls, dealing with these two types of rooms while being chased by her are really ass, because once she goes into a wall, you won't be able to tell where she is until she fucking hits you. Super dumb, and I hate it. Room 220 is where you meet Specimen 5. Hands down my least favorite specimen to deal with. Why is that, you ask? Well, let me show you this really awesome thing that he does. Oh my god. What the hell? Oh my god. What is this? I can't handle this. What the fuck? Oh my god, my poor eyes. What the hell is that? Oh my god, what am I looking at? What the... Oh my god! What the fuck is that noise? Oh, I don't like it. Please don't be dead end. You are such a piece of balls. You eat nuts for lunch. Isn't that fucking awesome? I can't see shit, can you? I can't stand this guy. And I think the game somehow knew that, because I was chased by this fucker more times than any other specimen. If you want to see how many times it happened, you can watch my full playthrough on my second channel, Dexter Black. Room 250, you meet Spooky, who congratulates you for making it a quarter of the way through the rooms. She leaves you a gift. Upon opening it, it says, "Look behind you." When you do, multiple versions of Specimen 1 appear, and you're free to continue. Room 310. Oh, room 310. How you bend me over and rail me in the ass. This room is where you meet, hands down, one of the most frustrating specimens this game has to offer. In this room, you read notes that tell you the story of a puppeteer who drowned while trying to save his puppets, which were thrown into a river by the townsfolk from the town he lived in. He refers to his puppets as his children. At the end of the room, you meet Specimen 6. And what does he look like? This. This is what he looks like. Isn't that awesome? Specimen 6's chase makes me want to put my penis in a blender. You don't get to run from Specimen 6. In fact, calling his chase a chase is very generous, because he's not chasing shit. He's by far the fastest specimen in the whole game, with one weakness. He's a weeping angel, aka can't fucking move unless you're not looking at him. Think you can outrun him? Bullshit. No, you can't. If you want to escape him, you have to look at him, since he basically teleports behind you instantly if you look away. Because of this, traversing through rooms becomes a slog that takes 30 years off of my life and makes me lose hair faster than a 40-year-old man. F-tier specimen, I hate you. If you thought these specimens kept getting worse and worse already, be prepared for the streak to continue, because this next one makes me want to cover my penis in honey and place it into a badger hole. Upon reaching room 410, we meet this little cat. It asks us if we're lost and a bunch of other shit that I'm not even going to begin to try and comprehend. I know it has something to do with conscientiousness, but for God's sake, I'm just trying to play a game, not be a philanthropist. So if anyone would like to kindly explain in the comments in great detail, I'll probably pin it so anyone who actually cares can read about it. Anyways, Specimen 7. Specimen 7 is a giant fucking wall of corpses. Life is amazing sometimes, actually. During this chase, the rooms you run through are significantly different than the normal rooms, as they're slightly more complex with how many twists and turns they have. You'll get a bunch of weird graphics on the walls, and Specimen 7 takes up the entire room and will slowly move towards the direction of the player. Unlike most specimens who deal damage upon coming into contact with you, if you come into contact with Specimen 7, you will lose immediately. It's so crazy how the rope just appeared around my neck. In room 500, you meet Spooky again, who tells you that she's fixed up the door for you. Didn't know it needed to be fixed, but okay. Room 550 is where the game gets interesting again. You'll find yourself in this forest-like area where you can walk through cabins and more forest filled with deer. These deer will attack you, by the way. Awesome. This is also where you acquire the only other forever item in the game, the axe. Swinging the axe uses a bit of stamina, however, hitting a specimen with an axe will usually stun it for a moment, as well as decreasing the amount of rooms it will chase you through. I never knew this while playing, but I wish I did, because some of these chases feel like they can last a while. Once you reach room 559, you get to meet Specimen 8, Deer Lord. It's exactly what you think it is. A deer that is a lord. He's a floater that can go through walls, and he'll leave a static overlay on your screen. He also cannot be damaged by your axe. Room 610 is when you enter another GL Labs location. This one is much more futuristic looking, and the power is out. You eventually turn it back on, only for it to go out again. You read a note from a presumably dead lab assistant, which explains how to survive Specimen 10. Then Specimen 10 appears. Who the fuck would have guessed? Specimen 10 is just another specimen that makes me want to rip my pubic hair out and eat it. Just like Specimen 6, you can't run from this guy. If you have too far of a distance from Specimen 10, it will transform into a fucking worm and move at a speed faster than your sprint speed and promptly kill you. So you're forced to slowly walk through with it. I hate this guy. Only because it felt like every chase with him took about 12 decades. Once you reach room 710, you'll find yourself in a fast food restaurant. You find various notes around from an employee detailing their weird experiences in the restaurant. Once you find some keys, you'll enter the freezer, which contains the key to be able to unlock the door, which allows you to leave the restaurant. Upon leaving the freezer, you meet Specimen 11. Specimen 11, by far, has the most frustrating and disgusting mechanic I've ever seen. Specimen 11 does quite a few interesting things. Not only does it move at the same speed as your walking speed, once it gets close to you, it will speed up greatly, so don't let that happen. It also at any time can fuck your screen with flashing hallucinations because seeing isn't important. And then, the icing on the cake, the mechanic that makes me want to piss in a cup and drink it, Specimen 11 will make the doors dis the fuck appear. That's right. I really hope you've memorized the layouts of the rooms you've been seeing, because if you forgot where a door spawns, especially in an open room, have fun getting pegged in the asshole because this fucker sucks ass. Once you reach room 750, you meet Spooky again. Her gift for you this time is infinite stamina. Isn't that great? Of course this comes with a consequence. Maybe your axe has a cooldown now, or maybe you lose some of your max health. Nope. Try no more sprinting, fucker. That's right, you can't sprint anymore. But hey, your axe can be swung infinitely. That's cool, I guess. Thank God, after 15 rooms, you lose your infinite stamina and are able to run again. Room 810 is something else. 810 is a 2-story Victorian-style mansion, and this mansion that you're in is Specimen 12. You might be asking yourself, if the mansion is the specimen, how is it supposed to harm you or chase you? Well, from notes that you read around the building, you learn that the house can manifest itself into things, and it chooses to manifest itself into an old man that wanders the mansion. Thank God, every encounter with the old man is scripted, so you don't have to worry too much. While in some rooms you will hear the old man coming. When you do, you'll have to hide in whatever room you're in using things around the room, usually some boxes or a closet. Once he eventually leaves the room, you're free to leave your hiding spot and continue. Eventually, you find a book, which you insert into a shelf in the library, which reveals a trap door. While underground, you hide from the old man again, find a key that will get you out of the mansion, and then all you have to do is walk back out of the trap door and leave the mansion. I don't know where I'm going now. What the hell does this key go to? Do I gotta go back out? Is there another locked door? Oh, right, to get out of the fucking mansion. Oh, fuck you. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Nah. Nah. I got an axe, dude. Nope. Nah. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot to tell you. Once you try to leave the underground, the old man begins to chase you just like any other specimen. His chase doesn't go on for that many rooms, so you should be fine. But holy fuck, did him appearing scare the shit out of me. Room 910 is where we meet one of the final specimens. In this area of the game, we read several notes from marine biologists about whales in captivity. In order to enter the next room, we must shut down the water supply. Once we do so, we may exit this room and enter the next section of the game, which you'll find is flooded with water. We find a naked girl sitting on a crate in the water. Upon approaching her, she jumps into the water and the chase begins. That's right, if it wasn't obvious, that girl is Specimen 11. After losing her and going through a few more rooms, we find something that breaks the pattern we've been used to thus far. Room 995 is an elevator room. Usually elevators have only been in rooms that were multiples of 100. This room is the final save point, and there's only 5 rooms left to go through. Once you reach room 1000 and exit, you'll find yourself outside. The game will display a fake crash screen and Spooky will appear, looking defeated. She congratulates you, albeit not very happy about it. Then we hear something scream. Oh no. You may have noticed that when talking about the specimens, I skipped Specimen 9. That's because up until this point, we've never seen them. The screams that we hear now are Specimen 9's. When Spooky hears this, she immediately perks back up and tells us that we have one final test to complete before we can leave. A door appears, and upon entering, we find ourselves in a very white room. We find a table with a radio on it. A voice says, "I'm taking all those logs they keep throwing out, and I'm nailing them together." Upon leaving this room, we start a final boss battle with Specimen 9. This boss battle is pretty straightforward. Specimen 9 only has a few attacks. One attack will make 3 to 5 large poles appear from the ground. You have to keep moving because they will appear wherever you're standing. Another attack is a large shadow hand that will follow the player, before multiple shadow hands appear from the ground in an attempt to grab you. Specimen 9 can spawn a few little monsters that slowly walk towards you. You can hit them with your axe to kill them. And its final attack is shooting a few bright balls at you. If you use your axe to knock the balls back at Specimen 9, it will come down to the ground and you can swing your axe to deal damage. Doing this enough times will cause Specimen 9 to die and for the game to end. Spooky's Jumpscare Mansion actually has two endings, the good ending and the bad ending. I got the good ending in my playthrough, and I think it's likely that most other players would as well, since, unlike most games that have multiple endings, getting the good ending is undoubtedly easier than the bad ending. In order to get the bad ending, you need to have at least 20 violence points before beating the final boss. You get violence points by swinging your axe at certain things. Swinging your axe at the cardboard cutouts, specimen 1s, will get you 1 point. Hitting the deer that appear in the outside area get you 2 points, and hitting specimen 2, 3, 4, 6, and 11 give you 3 points. Once you beat the final boss, if you don't have at least 20 violence points, the ceiling will collapse on you, killing you instantly. Spooky relays this information to you, and it's shown that she has made you a part of her ghost army which will invade the world. This is the good ending. If, however, you do have at least 20 violence points, the ceiling will not collapse and Specimen 9 will die. And Spooky will tell you how much she liked watching you swing your axe around, and says you'll make a great specimen, thereby making the player a monster that will chase other visitors through the mansion for eternity. I should mention that this game has two DLCs, the Dollhouse and Kiminari Hospital. I won't be covering those in this video since this video is already getting pretty long, but if you're interested in hearing me cover them, definitely let me know down below. Since the DLCs are canon, I actually think that the bad ending is the canon ending to the game. Since you die in the good ending, there's no possible way you'd be able to do what plays out in the DLCs. And since you use your axe in the DLCs, I think it's much more likely that the bad ending where you live is much more likely to be the canonical ending to the game, which I find very interesting. So that was Spooky's Jumpscare Mansion. I watched multiple YouTubers play this game when I was a kid, and revisiting it as an adult gave me a much larger appreciation for it. Not only is this game a parody, it's a parody that performs better in every department than the games it parodies. Even though every single specimen and event is a reference that pokes fun, it still somehow does it better than the games it's referencing. And I don't care what anyone else thinks, this game is fucking scary. Every single chase, I was tense the whole time. That's something that horror games can never usually do for me. I'm never usually scared the whole time, and I think it's incredibly impressive that this game can do that. I also can't not mention the score in this game. Akuma Kira is such a talented composer. Every song in this game is perfect. The music adds such a strong atmosphere to a game that would otherwise really need it. Each specimen has its own chase theme, and their themes fit so well with their characters. This game is amazing in all departments. But let me know what you think in the comments. Before I go, the question of the video is, which non-DLC specimen from Spooky's Jumpscare Mansion is your favorite and why? With the question being asked, I've been Dexter, and I'll see you all in the next one. See ya!